Bob Chapman with us with his once-a-week visit, the international forecaster. A jam-packed fourth hour today. We are live at prisonplanet.tv. Got a lot of audio clips I want to play. I have your calls to take for Bob Chapman on the economy or any other issue he can speak to it, and a lot of news to cover. City Council of Detroit wants a $10 billion bailout from the federal government, i.e. taxpayer money given to them that we have to pay back. Ford and GM want $50 billion. GE wins FDIC insurance for up to $139 billion in debt. So their stock plunged. Walmart, though, is the only group out there posting a profit because they're predatory. They have the slave systems. They have the slave camps. They have the factory deals. They have the inside deal, the inside track. They are meant to deindustrialize the United States. They are part of the globalist military attack through the financial system, or this financial siege, this financial genocide. So Walmart posts higher third quarter profits because they will cut prices to below what it's even costing them to savage everyone else. So again, the parasitic system, they only get more powerful as the host begins to die. Bailouts lack oversight despite billions pledged. And that's a whitewash itself. Watchdog panel is empty. Report is unfinished. It says 6 weeks since lawmakers approved the Treasury's massive bailout. That's actually wrong. It's been 5 weeks, but whatever. And then they go into whitewashing things, saying it's $700 billion. It's $5 trillion. $5 trillion. That's an AP and Bloomberg. And they've already stolen that. $2 trillion. They won't even say where it went. Bonner demands Fed identify recipients of loans. Talk to Bob Chapman about this first when we come back out of the break. House Republican John Bonner called for the Federal Reserve to disclose the recipients of $2 trillion of emergency loans. And they said no, and they issued blacked out pages. And then Treasury Secretary and Fed Chairman get up on TV and say, we've given you total transparency. The taxpayers are protected. And then Greenspan goes on Lair NewsHour Monday and says, we are above the law. We are above everyone. No one can even investigate us. Another one here out of the Washington Post, Bush out of office could oppose inquiries. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, they're all putting out the disinfo that, Bush is expanding Patriot 2 before he leaves, non-legislatively. And it says that police can be federalized and spy on anyone for even non-political reasons or non-criminal reasons. Just total tyranny, which is what Obama wants, the million-man domestic spy force. And it said Obama can't reverse it if Bush does it. Total lie. Obama could instantly reverse it. But see, they're already telling you, Obama can't change what Bush did. Knowing the public doesn't even know. Over a fifth of Americans can't find the U.S. on a map. Okay? 80-something% in a big study I saw didn't know who the vice president was. So they're telling you, and they tell in the New York Times, Congress can't subpoena the president. The president's above Congress. Really? How come they have to approve all of his cabinet? The House and the Senate are above the president. They're not co-equal. That's why legislatures used to send the senators, because the founders knew you had to have the real power in the legislature because it had more checks and balances. But now the New York Times comes out and tells you, hey, there's nothing you can do, and puts out this disinformation that there's no oversight. Just like Alan Greenspan says, there's no oversight. Since when? And the public isn't buying it, but still the globalists don't care. So we're going to come back and talk to Bob Chapman right now. Suicide attack kills 10 Afghans, U.S. soldiers, and officials. Paranoia on the rise. Las Vegas Sun is reporting that experts say that, and it says paranoia about the New World Order. That, you believe there's a New World Order? You're crazy. It's just all over TV and radio. Also, they've announced statewide warrantless checkpoints in Texas. They spun it in the media that's for illegal aliens. You read the fine print. The illegal aliens are above the law. They're to be released. This is for citizens. So that's all coming up, ladies and gentlemen, with Bob Chapman, your phone calls, and a lot more on the other side of this break. In fact, for PrisonPlanet.tv members, I'm going to go ahead and talk to Bob. Let me go ahead and talk to Bob right now. Bob?
Yes?
We're going to come back and let's just rapid fire get your comments on each one of these points I just raised, then get into where the economy's going right now, how they're still hammering gold, and then take a lot of calls for you, okay?
Okay.
And I've got some other interesting audio clips I'm going to be playing today, so it'll be a jam-packed time that's coming up. We're just on the internet right now, but that's millions in the aggregate, but hundreds of thousands listening right now to the podcast and on the streams, and thousands watching at prisonplanet.tv. In the 2 minutes we've got before we come back, give the folks watching a preview of some of the things you want to talk about, what you think is most important right now.
Well, I think the change of pace by the Secretary of the Treasury, they've been at it for 15 months and they still don't know where they're going. Everything they've tried has been unsuccessful. And as you pointed out, all their sweetheart deals that they've been giving to their other illuminous friends, they won't even tell you who they're giving the money to, which is the height of arrogance. And the situation in the market, market was down 300. The announcement came out. President's going to speak. The market goes down to even, and then he speaks, and the market goes back up 250, and now it's come back down again. And so every time the plunge protection team runs the market up, institutions, the public, come in and sell. So the market's not going anywhere, and eventually it's going to go lower. Gold just rallied $12, actually about $18, and now it's on its way back to even again. It's like a circus.
All of this says total manipulation.
Total. And it's not only these markets, it's all over the world. And, you get this meeting coming up in a couple of days, and what are they going to do? They're going to tell the world that they're going to print money and credit every country as fast as humanly possible, and that they're going to, as well, all bring their interest rates to zero. And that'll probably buy them about 2 years, and then they'll get into the Japanese syndrome, and they'll all go down together.
But not before the elites have tried to position themselves in a safe position and set up a police state as a rearguard action against us as they leave scorched earth, so we're too busy trying to feed ourselves to ever go after them.
And that's why it's so important. Everybody should have food, a filter, and weapons at home. It's a primary objective of every one of you out there.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, Bob Chapman with us for 52 minutes today, and your phone calls, some other audio clips I want to play. We've got Salente predicts revolution, food riots, tax rebellions by 2012. Trends Research Institute, he's just like Bob, his predictions of about 95% accuracy. When CNN wants to know about top trends, we ask Gerald Salente. But the problem is that they wouldn't have him on years ago when he was saying this. Now they want him on to fully panic people. Now they want to route things. So we've got Bob Chapman on with us, our financial expert who joins us once a week, to go over what's happening with the markets right now. Bob, first off, they're telling us Bretton Woods 2. They're openly announcing that they want a, quote, new world order run by the banks where they set commodity prices, where they set and globally rigged stock markets publicly, what they're already doing behind the scenes, where they set the currencies, where they have a global devaluation of the currencies and interest rates to zero, and where the private group of banks runs and controls other banks and institutions of the world. We will pay carbon taxes to them. We will pay money transfer taxes to them. This is it. They say out of this meeting this weekend, they'll have a string of others over the next year. They're going to use the crisis to force us onto this system. Break down what we're going to see this weekend and what you think they'll be able to set up, and then how you see that unfolding. Salente, he says the same thing that you're saying. He says by 2012, it will be war in the streets, literally Mad Max beyond Thunderdome. And he's saying that the bankers did it basically by design. He says we've had a bloodless coup with Wall Street taking over the U.S. and looting. And they're letting him say this on mainstream TV. Bob Chapman.
They like him more than they like me because they won't invite me on mainstream TV. They told me I was a street fighter last time, and and that's probably very true. I did grow up on the streets, and I was a street fighter, but that was a long time ago. Out of the meeting, what they're going to get is zero interest rates. Everybody's going to do that, all the central banks, and they will print money and credit until the cows come home. And so what are we going to have? We're going to have hyperinflation to offset the underlying deflation that we're in. We're having a small hiatus now for 3-4 months where inflation will back off a little bit. Don't be fooled out there, because it's coming back with a vengeance, the monetization of these trillions of dollars that are being created. And so that's where we're headed. I think as time goes on and the market goes lower, which I believe it will,